Welcome to the first. You have a story. If you look back on your life, you've done things for the first time that no one in your family, in your town, in the country has done. This is Dr. Sandi. You have unknowingly paved the way for others without knowing it or even acknowledging it. This is where you tell your story so that those who come after you can walk in your footsteps to build their own firsts. Sharrarne Morton is the first in her circle to launch, produce, and host a national SiriusXM radio show called Skin Deep. She also coaches small businesses to leverage the power of media. While being a television commentator, Sharrarne launched Morton Media, where she began producing and hosting TV and radio shows and producing commercials. Sharrarne was featured on many platforms, including NBC4, TV1, Black Enterprise, The Washington Post, and many more. In 2021, she founded the Black Door Society to help women open doors to success by connecting women of color to high net worth individuals and networking opportunities that allowed them to scale their businesses, increase their wealth, and build a legacy. In 2023, Sharrarne launched Skin Deep Beauty, her luxury beauty line in the US and Dubai. It is an organic and vegan one-stop beauty shop for women who value clean beauty. You can find Sharrarne at blackdoorsociety.org, and her incredible beauty products are at skindeepbeautystore.com. Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Sandi, and we're on the first podcast with my favorite guest now, because I want to know everything about her, Sharrarne Morton. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Sharrarne?
Sharrarne Morton, that's correct. Thank you, Dr. Sandi.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, because once I saw your SiriusXM thing, I was so excited. So tell me what are the first and why you started doing this, and just give us the scoop.
Well, I always knew that I wanted to be a broadcast journalist from the time I was a little girl, carrying a hairbrush in my hand and going around interviewing family members, to being the high school newspaper editor, and then going on to college at Rutgers and majoring in broadcast journalism and having my own radio show on the campus as well. And so when I got out of college, I took a slight detour and got into politics. A lot of my family had a history as legislators. So I thought that was something that I wanted to do, but that was a huge mistake. It is a blood sport, and it's particularly hard for women. So I hurried out of that, and luckily, I got a big break. I had met so many people while I was campaigning, and my message had somehow gotten out there. And I actually came pretty close to beating a 30-year veteran. But, I always believe that what God has for you is yours. And so that wasn't meant for, it wasn't meant for me. So I did, though, after I lost that campaign, and it was a bruiser. It was tough. It was the hardest thing that I've ever done next to having a baby. So I should say next to going through labor and delivering a baby. But I got a phone call from an ABC 7 News affiliate in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area where I'm located. And they asked if I would be interested. Someone had referred me, and they asked if I would be interested in being a political commentator just one time, just coming on the show once and commentating on the Iraq War. That's what we were discussing at the time. So this has been many, many years ago, in the late 90s, I want to say. And I said, sure. But of course, it was going to be my first time ever commentating. I knew I wanted to be on television. I knew I wanted to be in front of the camera as an anchor or a broadcaster, but I never really thought about being a political commentator. And so when I went to the studio, I saw that I was the only woman of color on this panel, the only woman on this panel. And I just knew that I was going to have to represent women, represent people of color, women of color in particular. And so it was an hour-long show. The synergy was wonderful. I mean, the harmony between me and the other panelists, even though they were older white men, we got along really well. And the ratings skyrocketed. And they asked us to come back again and again and again and again. And it turned into 14 years of being on this ABC7 news show when it was only supposed to be just once. And I was just very fortunate. The show got canceled. And then about a week later, someone called me and asked me if I would produce a show for them on SiriusXM and be their co-host. A very good friend of mine, Carl Brown, who is the executive director of the Small Business Development Center. But before I got the SiriusXM Radio gig, while I was commentating on television, I began to do a lot of speaking engagements, serving as mistress of ceremonies at a lot of events. I was being a guest on other TV shows. And then I started my own media production company, and I began to produce commercials for companies like Comcast. I then produced my own television show for ABC7, the news affiliate. And so those 14 years on television allowed me to really do what I've always wanted to do. So I was really blessed. It really is all about who you know and who knows and likes you. So the person that...
I have to say one thing listening to you though, Sharrarne. God gave you that voice for a reason.
Right.
Not,
That's exactly right.
not everyone has that voice, and you absolutely have that broadcaster presence and voice.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
you're in the right job.
And I used to get teased for my voice too when I was in junior high and high school, but I get paid for it now, so that's a blessing.
Yes, I love that.
So yeah, it was people who knew me and referred me, and that's how I got my foot in the door and have just been doing everything that I love ever since. It's just been such a total blessing.
What would you say to that little Black girl, that used to get teased in school? What would you say to her now?
I would say you did it. And if you trust in God, it will happen. I believe that He orders your steps, and you are, I am, in fact, I should say, doing what I'm supposed to do, what He wanted me to do. So I'm just grateful for that. But that's what I would tell her. You'll do it. It'll come true. Your dreams will come true.
I agree. And how do you see this impacting young girls or people in your family? Or, how does the fact that you've taken this big, bold step, in the average person's mind, that's a big, bold step for you to have your radio show into, from where you're coming from. What do you see the impact is on the people around you and the next generation coming up?
Well, I do sometimes mentor young women. I'm in a sorority. I also have younger female cousins. They're about 15, maybe 20 years younger than me. And they always tell me, they call me Big Cuz or Big Cousin Sharrarne. We watched you, we modeled our lives after you. Watching you allowed us to believe that we could do the same thing. And they're very successful now. So I'm just so happy about that I didn't even know they were watching me. I mean, they told me this like a few years ago, and they remembered some of the things that we had done together when they were little girls and I was older, and they were watching me go off to college and watching me run for office. You just never know who's watching you. So
that is the truth. I know that's people come up to me all the time and say that, like, oh, I saw you and so and so. And I don't even know who they are, but I'm really thankful that they let me know, because you're right. You move a little bit differently when you know people, especially young people, are watching. I mentor a lot myself too. I have a mentoring day coming up for the enterprising woman in February. And we
Oh,
just get a lot of young girls to come in. It's really around STEM programs and
yeah.
getting young girls into STEM programs. And I always feel so good when I leave. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what they do in, 10 years or
Yeah.
when they're not that little girl anymore.
And I feel like I'm still growing. I think I'm still learning, I'm still scaling, trying to scale my business. So, I think you're never too old to get out there and do what you want. I really waited to start my businesses. I waited until my children went off to college to really give 100%
Mhm.
because I felt like, being a wife and a mother uh, was my priority, and it took so much of my time and energy, and a business takes so much of your time and energy, and I had to make a decision. So thankfully, while I was serving on television as a commentator, I started my company, but I didn't like give it 100%. I would just go out and do speaking engagements or do TV show appearances, but that was about it. I really, really didn't get down into the weeds until my children went off to college. And then it was, off to the races, 0 to 100 in like 10 seconds.
Well, you said businesses. What are the other businesses that you have besides your Sirius?
Yeah, well, SiriusXM is a platform that I provide content for. My company, Morton Media, provides content for platforms like SiriusXM. And like I said, I used to produce commercials for Comcast. We still do produce radio ads and TV commercials. We do a lot of public relations, and we get our clients on TV and radio to amplify their businesses. I also have a skincare line called Skin Deep Beauty. It's actually named after my SiriusXM radio show, Skin Deep. It's all about health and wellness. And we're launching in Dubai next week. I'm super excited about that. And launching here in the US next week as well. That was tough. I started in the end of 2019, and early 2020, I got a deathly form of COVID and almost died. I had to shut down all of my businesses and focus on trying to survive. Was hospitalized like 3 or 4 times. I just really didn't think I was going to make it. I read my will to my adult children to let them know what to do with everything and how to do it once I was gone. It was a scary period. And it really brought a lot of things into perspective in terms of what was important. And it took me about a year to fully recover. And so I wasn't able to relaunch my businesses until 2022. And relaunched Skin Deep Beauty this in 2023, just last year, and have been able to do so much. Like I said, launching in Dubai, that's just amazing to be able to do that in a year's time. And then my last business is my organization called Black Door Society, where we help Black women entrepreneurs get access to opportunities that will lead them to scaling their businesses and growing their wealth and legacy. So I'm proud of all three. I'm exhausted, but I'm proud of all three.
A networking group, or is Black Orchid a networking group that you can join? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, Black Door Society, you can go to blackdoorsociety.org. We are a networking organization. I kind of think we're like a business sorority where we focus on helping women of color because we know how hard it is to be an entrepreneur, to stay an entrepreneur, especially for women and Black women in particular. And so it's an invitation only organization because we want only women who are serious about helping other women. And we also feed our members into Women Elevating Women, woo. So when women come to Black Door Society, they have an option to do a dual membership with both Black Door Society and Woo, so that they get double the access, double the opportunities, and they're able to scale their businesses even faster. So I'm super proud of that because we will be only 3 years old this coming April, and we've done so much. It's just been a whirlwind, but it's been amazing and just God blessed.
Is there a criteria for getting an invitation? Like, is there a revenue threshold? What's the criteria for women who are probably going to be interested after this?
There's no revenue threshold. We prefer women who are not like startups, but we do offer workshops and seminars to those brand new startups. We've partnered with the DC Small Business Development Center and Carl Brown, as well as we're about to partner with Certified Access to help women grow their businesses and become certified and bid on contracts and that kind of thing. But there is an interview process. Like I said, it's invitation only. So you can go to blackdoorsociety.org and let us know that you're interested. You need to follow us on social media, come to our events, meet us, talk to us, let us know you're interested. And then every other year, we have an opportunity for women to apply and get interviewed and become inducted. So this past year, back in October, I want to say maybe June, we had about 100 women to make application. And out of those 100 women, only 15 made the cut. So we're very, very serious about the women that we offer our membership to, because again, it's super important that you're coming in and that you're not only getting opportunities from us, or you're also providing opportunities to the members. We call each other sisters. You're providing opportunities. So everyone is helping each other to grow. If you get a contract, then you subcontract to your BDS sisters first before you go out and subcontract to others. We all are helping each other to scale. And that's just super important. And we want to make certain we choose the right women who meet with and agree with our mission statement.
That's great because Black women particularly really need the support of other Black women. And just to talk, just sometimes listening to what someone else is doing. I know I belong to a lot of organizations, and my biggest learning is always just listening to the moves that they're making and the different strategies that they're using in their business. I'm like, I could apply that to my business as well. So no, thank you for that, because that's well needed. Is it an international organization or local?
It's a national right now, meaning we have members all over the country, but we're small right now. Again, we just started, it'll be 3 years in April. So, but we get hundreds of women reaching out to us from all over the country wanting to join. We want to grow slowly. And so we will be doing another induction in 2025, but we will start inviting women to apply later on this year. So again, if people are interested, they can go to blackdoorsociety.org.
Let me get my application ready.
Dr. Sandi, we need to be, you're a mentor, you're a legend, Dr. Sandi. You need to mentor me. I want you to be my mentor.
I mentor others, but you'd be surprised at the people that I look to, especially now, to mentor me, because everything's new. Like, I started a marketing company and I sold my marketing company. Marketing is nothing like when I had my company.
Right.
It's totally, totally different. So some of the things that the newer people take for granted, I have to hire somebody to do it. I give you this joke. I got this thing that someone was hacking my Facebook yesterday. No clue how to go change this thing. I'm in there going, okay, so now I'm hacked. I now have to change my password.
Right.
But I still haven't figured out how to notify Facebook that I was hacked. And I had to call my assistant. And I'm like, I should be able to do this on my own. And so little things that we take for granted nowadays, or I see the kids just go on their phone and they're like,
Yeah.
well, I struggle with that.
You're
So
not the only one. You're not the only one. I think we're probably peers in terms of age. So we weren't born with these phones in our hands like these young folks. So I struggle too, and I have to hire people or look at the younger women in Black Door Society to help me. It's so embarrassing. Or my daughters who are in their 20s. You're not the only one.
we should not be embarrassed about it, because my mom is in her 80s, and she comes to me all the time, with the phone thing. Oh, my phone is saying this, you know. And so I look to her because I'm her mentor, I'm her expert, and I
Right.
have no expertise in this thing. But compared to her, so I look at it the same way. There are younger people or a different generation of people or someone in a different role that can mentor me. I'm always wide open to learning new things. Every single day I learn something.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, hey, we would love to have you in Black Door Society. I would bow to you. You're the queen.
There's no bowing going on. No, but thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about what you do, because that's part of what I enjoy. I
Uh,
enjoy listening, and I enjoy just learning about the different organizations that are out there, the things that you had to do to get to where you are, even how long it took you. You said
yeah.
you waited until, your kids were in college.
Yeah. I wasn't able to really give 100% to my businesses until I was 52, 53 years old, something like that. I think about 53. And I'm 58 now. So, and then you have to knock off 2 years from that for COVID. So really, I've only been working really hard growing my businesses for the last, for 4 years. So yeah, in my 50s, so but it's a good thing. I was able to, have a wonderful family, and my children are wonderful adults, and my husband and I are still married, ups and downs and turnarounds, but after, 33 years in the marriage game. So uh, we're still standing. I'm still standing, and it's just a blessing.
I like to really hear that, because there's a school of thought with the young kids now, and I'm going back, I'm trying to be old school again. There was a point in our lives when we came out of college, you had to go into the corporate world. That's what our parents wanted. That's how we made money, was to go right into corporate. Entrepreneurship was not the thing to do.
Right, right.
I always had entrepreneurs in my, AKA hustlers,
That's exactly what we are.
right? We call them hustlers. They were being entrepreneurs, and those people were like my grandparent. My grandmother was a seamstress, so I come from a bunch of seamstresses. She
Mhm.
handed that down to my mom and my aunt, and I learned how to sew, from I'm in a cradle, like doing this, because that was handed down to us, and she made money at it. That's how she made her living. That's how
Yeah,
my aunts made her living. They're well known for being seamstresses. They weren't told to go into corporate.
right.
Cooks, painters, like that's my family. It's a blue collar, hardworking set of people. But when it came to my generation, they invested in us.
Yeah,
They poured into us that we want you to take a different road and to go to college and to go into the corporate world. No one said go start up your own business.
no, they never said that. You're right. And I'm a third generation college graduate. I'm very, very grateful and blessed. My grandmother went to Howard University. My mother went to Howard University. I didn't go to Howard because I was in DC and I wanted to get away. So, but I went to Rutgers. But I always knew that I had no option. I had to go to college. I wanted to go to college. But I learned from my grandmother and my mother. My grandmother was a poor woman born in West Virginia, and she divorced her husband when their three children were very little, very small, and that was unheard of back then. And she migrated to Washington D.C. and she worked as a cook, and she pulled herself up by the bootstraps. And her mother came and moved with her and took care of the three children, one of which was my dad, while my grandmother went to college at night. And she ended up getting her bachelor's and then her master's, and then she became an academic advisor at the University of the District of Columbia. And this was just unheard of for a Black woman back then, but she did it, and she loved what she did. She loved her students. She mentored thousands of students over 40 years at the University of District of Columbia. She traveled during her summers off all over the world. She exposed me to so many places and people and things. And so I just give honor to her. She just passed away last year. So I'm just very blessed to be at 58 and still have my grandmother. But she served as a role model, and so did my mother, who, after divorcing my dad, became a single parent and went to Howard at nighttime while raising my brother and I. So I've only had strong women to look up to who have served as role models to me, and I'm just grateful for that.
You need to write a book about that.
I know.
The book in there somewhere, Sharrarne.
There's a book in there somewhere.
I'm starting to write a draft one up about my great grandmother, who's similar to your grandmother. Also had her own business in the West Indies. She was Jamaican, but she traveled. She had her own boat, and she traveled around the world selling goods. And in that age, I mean, my grandmother was born in 1905, so you're talking the 18 something. She did this when women just didn't do that.
No, that's amazing.
It is. And I have some great stories about my grandmother, how, she died when my grandmother was 12, and she had to leave school to go take care of her siblings.
Oh, wow.
And that's a whole other story. So my mom, I'm a first generation, my brother, my sister, and myself, we were all college grads because my mom migrated from Jamaica. And so she thought we should have the opportunity to be the first ones to really take advantage. And so college, like you, there was nothing, you had to go to college.
Right.
Otherwise, right. I worked all my whole life, that. Right. So it's kind of like Oprah and Miss Seeley, doing that. Right. So you got guilted into going whether you wanted to or not. But it was the best thing for us because I appreciate my mom for that. She worked, I don't know how many jobs to make sure we got through. And so listening to that story and comparing to my story, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be listening and going, oh, I totally get it, is what I want from this, because these are our stories and how we got to where we are. But what are some of the pitfalls for you of being in the public eye or being a mentor to other people? What do you see anything that you go, oh my God, I wish, I could change that? Or
oh yeah, there's tons of things. We're humans, so there's so many things that you wish you could change or do over. But I also learned from those things too, making mistakes. When I was younger, just not understanding the power of networking and not burning bridges. I've just learned also to listen to my instincts and I now have a better discernment, I believe, in terms of people and whether they mean me well or not. and in the
Yes.
business forum, sometimes people come into your life and they don't mean you well. So you just have to have that discernment to determine who those people are and just move away from them. I think that I've also learned that things, whatever you want, you have to work hard for it, but you also need to rest, get your rest.
Oh,
Uh,
well, I don't know about that part. I'm
oh my
not good
gosh.
at
I mean, I take a nap. My friends tease me and call me, they say, you're taking an old lady nap. Yes, I am. I
that.
believe in getting my rest because I'm no good without it. And rest is like medicine. I'm fully rejuvenated. I feel so much better after I take a nap. And then I go to bed early.
And that's
So
why you have such good skin to do a
that
skin life.
and the makeup. But I think I look younger than, I'll be 59
You
soon.
too.
So I
You
think I look
too.
pretty good for my age. And I really give that to drinking lots of water and getting lots of rest. It's so important.
I
I find
do none of
when
those.
yeah, when I don't
I'm
rest, I get
horrible.
sick. I get sick when I don't rest, and my body just breaks down and I catch a cold or something happens. So
It's
it's a
on
really
my vision board for this year, taking care of my,
good.
and I have on my calendar every morning, drink water. I put it on my calendar because I suck at drinking water. I I do. There's just something I don't like about water.
A lot of people don't like it.
I
Yeah.
force myself. I get up in the morning, I drink a glass, I try to stop at lunch and I should be drinking 8 glasses, but I never get to 8 glasses. I just never get to it. And my doctor just said, "You're getting dehydrated." I'm
Oh,
I'm 62.
okay. You
So
look really good for 62. I thought you might have been in your early 50s. So, but I'm just saying,
I love you. It's
it's
it's, it's Sharrarne Morton makeup. What's your makeup? What's the makeup
it's
line?
skin beauty, skin beauty. I mean, I'm sorry. Listen to me, skin deep beauty. But I was trying to say that um, I think with Black women, it's our melanin that keeps us looking so young as
Yeah.
well. So as you get older, you begin to appreciate it more. But
I do, and I'm losing my melanin.
you are?
I have all these white spots and
Yeah.
okay, podcast people, we're digressing, but as you get older, my doctor says you get these age spots. So on my face, I have dark ones, but I'm becoming a white woman on the bottom part.
Me
Like,
too. I'm getting them too. I went to my dermatologist. They just said, hey, that comes with age. So yeah.
so
Yeah.
Mike Jackson's not the only one
No,
that's
it's happening to all of us. But I'd rather get old than to die young. So it
that's
comes.
your next skincare product.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good idea.
Yes.
That's
Either
a
the
good,
I don't know why the I gotta ask my dermatologist why the dark one's different than the white ones. But
I do have a product for the dark ones. If you go to skindeepbeautystore.com, I do have a product and I'll send it to you, Sandi, as a gift. Um, but your listeners can go to skindeepbeautystore.com and choose from a variety of products. They're all organic and vegan and natural. We list all of the ingredients of our products so that people know what's in them. They're clean and healthy. And so, yeah, I do have something for the discoloration, the dark discoloration, and it's really good. It's got
yeah,
vitamin
I'm
C
sending
in it.
you my address after this and you can or maybe when I drive through Maryland, I'll pick it up.
That'd be good. Are you here often? Are you in
Yeah,
Maryland?
I go between Virginia and New York
Oh, okay, good. That would be
every
wonderful.
month. So I do a detour, as I drive. My sister lives in Maryland, so as I drive through, I make a pit stop. So you never know, I might show up at your door.
That would be wonderful.
No, but thank you. Just to finish up, who are the people you really look up to go to your next, like to take you to the next level of what you're doing?
Um, Gosh, there's so many. I've been so blessed to meet so many people, especially women. that have been helpful. Betty Hines is one of them from Women Elevating Women. Yeah, the founder of Women Elevating Women. I just met with her. I was just on a Zoom call with her before I got on with you, and she told me to tell you hi. She's one. I can't wait to do more work with organizations like Certified Access with Shantara Hardy and Camille Thomas. They're in Woo as well. I think you know them maybe. Where I can lean on them to help me help women become certified for, government contracts and grow their businesses. I really lean on my mother too. We have a very close relationship.
That's great.
Yeah, she's my role model and my best friend. Now, when I was younger, she was like, "No, I'm not your girlfriend. Don't talk to me like you're." But now we're best friends. And there was just a host of others. Carl Brown, who has really been wonderful and instrumental in helping me to get where I am. He has a SiriusXM radio show as well. He's the one that gave me my opportunity to co-host and produce for SiriusXM Radio. There's just so many women that I could name that have been so helpful. And I look up to you too, Sandi, because Betty and I were talking about how successful you are, how you're just a wonderful businesswoman, how you sold your company. So, I was so excited. I told Betty, I said, I was honored when Dr. Sandi reached out to me to be on her show. So that meant you must have seen me or been watching or something. So I was honored.
I don't know how we got connected on either Facebook or LinkedIn.
It was a Woo meeting.
Woo meeting?
Yes, okay. It's a Woo virtual meeting. One of the monthly meetings Betty was having.
Yeah, and then I looked to when we connected and I saw you did Sirius. I'm like, oh, this will be interesting for people to understand how to do that. And for me to understand, like I said, I learned a lot just from talking to you and listening to other people about this. And it shows the young women out there that this is a potential area of interest for them to take up and that it can be done.
Yes, it's not easy getting on SiriusXM. Nothing ever is, right? It was not easy. And actually, before I landed on SiriusXM, I had said like 3 or 4 years before then, I had prayed and asked God to help me get onto SiriusXM. And I had reached out to a couple of people and nothing turned up as a result. And then shortly thereafter, I was on Sirius. So, it happens. Prayer works. God answers prayers, but it's in His time. I've learned that as well. It's always in His time. You just have to wait for Him.
I just had that conversation. My husband's a pastor. So
I
just had that conversation about how impatient I am.
Me too. I'm getting better in my old age. I'm getting better.
But I said, I'm a work in progress. It's like, you're always trying to push this and you have to wait. And, you did it in his faster voice.
Right.
I just want to get it done. But, yes, we do have to wait on the Lord and just believe and have faith that it's going to get done and do the work.
Do the work.
The work.
And it's hard work. It's a lot of work, but it will come to fruition.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been talking to Sharrarne Morton. And where on Sirius can we find you? You didn't.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm on SiriusXM Radio, channel 141, which is also part of the WHUR network. We are HUR Voices. SiriusXM channel 141. I'm on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
I'm going to tune in.
Thank you, Dr.
Absolutely, and I'll try to help promote you as much as I can. I appreciate you coming on.
I'm happy to be on. Thank you so much. And if you don't make it past my house, just let me know and I'll put something in the mail to you.
Will do. This is Dr. Sandi. Thank you so much for sharing your journey on The First, where no two stories are alike, even if the circumstances are similar. Let this discussion serve as inspiration for others to show what's possible, and more importantly, to produce seconds and thirds.